Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Testing, testing. Should be able to hear me okay. Okay. Another morning of trying to short this market to zero. So for those who have been in the room on the overnight, we have, I'm still in shorts. I have taken a couple of losses on some of my accounts and I am up on some of my other accounts. So it's kind of like, I want to say mixed, but probably slightly down. But we're still in the overall position. So I'm going to break it down on why I'm still short biased for now. And if anything changes, then obviously we'll flip bias. It's fairly straightforward. So if and when I see long step in, ideally it's going to be, ideally it's going to be when the BX turns red. Now, one thing we have to pay, turns green. One thing we have to pay attention to is the fact that we have been oversold now for, where's that 37? For technically three, but 2 consecutive days we've spent below these 37 on the BX, which is basically just telling you it is a very deep pullback that we've got at the moment. So I am aware of that. I am conscious of that. I am also aware, I don't know why it's not showing, but the monthly, here we go. The monthly levels, we've come down to 94%. So I don't think it's going to be super easy getting really far, below 100, 120%. I think we can probably go, 10, 20% below the monthly ATR. We've still got 2 weeks left in the month. So we have to be very, very mindful of the fact that the weekly, we've traded 83% of the expected range. Okay. And this is to the downside, obviously, because we're at the lows. And the monthly, again, we're pretty much right down there. So if you can see on my screen, this is your average monthly low, which is currently tracking at about what, 480s? Yeah, about 480s. So is that right? Yeah, it'll be about 480s, because we already came down to it on this morning. Oh, on Friday, of course. There we go. So we have taken out Friday's lows. Let's make sure that is right. Yeah, we took out Friday's lows, and on Friday we came very close to it, and that's when we had that rally. So we have come very close to the monthly ATI. I am paying attention to that. I do also have some stats on that in terms of how far it's likely to go below and the likelihood of it closing above as well. So, but it's a monthly level, so it's less actionable right now until it actually trades. I will try and work out on average how much do we not trade it. I think I might have the stats for that. I'd have to have a look. But anyway, we'll pay attention to that. But that's the monthly levels. The smaller time frame levels that I'm still paying attention to is the pretty much the same extensions that traded yesterday. So if we go back to yesterday's RTH, regular trading hours session, there was a traditional halfway back that traded at 12.20. Went all the way to completions. The same canoe low traded. We had the red diamonds, triangle momentum down, true trend, ATR 2 targets. Like, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Same canoe low. Again, red diamonds. Into the close, we have had a bit of a choppier session in terms of like no real trend. We ATR down, hit the 4-hour low at midnight, and then subsequently completed that 23. Once we completed these targets from again, this was all overnight. So unless you're trading at like 8 o'clock EST, which I certainly wasn't, the shorts from, when I'm referring to the shorts on the overnight, the shorts on the overnight have already completed. Doesn't mean they can't go lower. I think they do go lower. But just be aware that they have already traded the 38 and the 50 twice already. So you can see the 38 here. Sorry, just the 38. So the 38 has already been traded, and we have completed the longs, the lows, sorry, down there. So I'm drawing what would be the same anchor to these new lows. And that's why you'll see I am still short on this 38. So some of my entries are at 08s and 010s, but then I was entering shorts. It's hard to even see on my screen. You guys can see in the room, but I was a little bit premature on the shorts. But We had ATR reversal up on the 10-minute. If I go to the 5, just to get a little bit more of it, yeah, ATR reversal on the 5-minute down here, which is this blue bar here. True trend started, and the true trend basically took price into the 38% retracement short. I said to everyone in the trading room, I don't think this gets easy until we really are below 710s. And that is the spot so far that has been really acting as like the resistance point. Well, resistance meaning like support and resistance at the same time. So this area down here, I'm just going to take this off for a second. I do genuinely believe, and again, I'm not going to be shorting. I'm already in short, so I'm not going to be shorting this because it's so low. Ideally, if we get a pop, brilliant. But I'm already short on other accounts. Some of them are at 715s, which is quite low. So I'm in the drawdown. And some of them are at 804s, 810s, 87s. And that's pretty much it. So going on to the live stream on my other accounts, I'm probably, again, I'm happy to show some of the accounts once they start moving, but I'm not going to be entering a short now just because I'm already short. Obviously, that makes sense, right? So what I will do is, if we get it, all I'm going to do is look for a pop back into the 38. Now, I don't think we get it, but I don't know for sure. So ideally, because I'm already short, I kind of just want this yesterday's RTH low to just, fall through, which is at 730s. And your ETH dynamic trend line really needs to hold below for this short to get any steam, okay, or any traction. So currently, you've got your ATR reversal up, and you've got your ETH trend line, dynamic trend line, that's holding for now. Now, those who've been here for a long time know that I don't really typically long at ETH low of day. I do typically favor the short side at or below the previous day lows, which is where we are. So again, to check box for that. We're also still bearish on the daily BX, which means on the daily time frame, we have been, and we still are red, okay? And of course, this is going to get to a point where this does go green at some point. But as I always say to the members, we'll have time to get into those longs, right? We will have time to get into those longs. We're not going to miss anything that's worthwhile taking, in my opinion, okay? So that is the thesis for the short. And again, we're still in this overall downtrend that we've been in now for a couple of weeks, okay? And again, this all comes from all of the retracements that I spoke about yesterday, which is all of this zone here, which is your completions. Basically, 26,100s to like 26,000 is pretty much where I've had those short areas set for a while now. And it's just a case of trying to follow these extensions down until they break. Now, you can see on my screen, this is a half an hour time frame, and you can see we are at the lows, right? 1, 2, 3 on the lows. So I often say to people 1, 2, 3 go on the lows, which basically just means typically when you get a 1, 2, 3, you can see a little bit of a push higher. Now, I'm going to stick to what I say. I still think this is a bearish structure. But since I'm already heavily short, I'm probably just going to try and wait to see if we do get a pop. That makes kind of sense for me. So I'm not going to add any additional risk. I have several accounts that I'm not yet short on or yet trade. Well, actually, I think I've traded most of them. But there is some that I still can trade to the short side if I want. Yeah, a handful. So I am still able to add to this if I want, but I just want to try and see if we can get a little bit of a pop. I do genuinely believe the half an hour time frame is going to be more important to pay attention to. The reason I say that is because, as I've probably already seen in the trading room this morning, there's a lot of noise. There is a lot of noise, and we are getting quite a bit of range if we go to the ATRs on the daily. Let me set this to why do I not have, why am I RTH ETH not loading? Half an hour time frame. So we do have quite a lot of range on the ETH. 550 points is the expected range on the day. Now, if you are a new trader, 550 points as an expectation on the days is huge, right? What that means is if we put on an ATR basic indicator on TradingView and go to a daily time frame, you can see, and this is what I teach in the masterclass, you can see how much we have expanded. In fact, if I just go back to August, you can see we have pretty much doubled our range from, call it July lows, all the way up We've doubled. So the range has gone from 240 points to pretty much close to 500 at the top there, 485s. Same day, different environment. Okay, so if you're using the same risk that you was using back here, you can take the same trades and be wrong on them, even though the trades are right. I'm going to say that again. You can take the same trades that you were taking back in July time, even September, a couple of months ago, and you can be wrong, even though the trade goes to completions, because you're sized inappropriately. Okay? If you have a 5 position bracket order, this is basically double the risk in a way. Not even double the risk, it just basically means that you're going to get stopped out more often. So this is why I use the 5-minute ATR to guide me on my stops. And you can see at the moment, it is still around 48. So 48, in fact, 38 to 52 is my average stop. But we're already trading that on the ETH. So wait for the RTH to open. This might go to 90, which is again, another reason why I'm using larger stops and I'm using less size. 1, 2 micros. I've even gone to 3 micros this morning and it's worked against me. The accounts I've gone 3 micros on, I'm actually up on, but I was down on those. Yeah, I was down on them. I'm now up. But the point being is, you can be right on the trade, but wrong because you've sized inappropriately and not given yourself enough room and get stopped out on randomness. I do not want you guys having that as a problem, okay? So please, please, please make sure you are sizing appropriately due to the ATRs, the average true range, which you can measure on a 5-minute. You can measure on any time frame. So this is, if you have the indicators, this is showing on a 5-minute time frame, which again is showing you 1.5 times the average, which is 50 points, guys, and we haven't even opened. Okay? So just be aware of that. If you're using minis on a 25K account or a 50K account, remember your stop loss is only $1,500, $200, $2,000. That's 100 points on the NQ. We're going to move 100 points in a 5-minute candle. That's probably going to happen today. So again, you can be right on the trade, but wrong because you positioned yourself poorly. So please, again, reiterate, size appropriately. Other than that, I don't really have anything to go through. I think that's all I really wanted to get across to people this morning. Just make sure that size is correct, because I'm seeing a lot of people getting out of trades that it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you have a trade that you've got an idea on, you're going to do yourself harm by not giving it time to work, because this is a basic statistics lesson. But if you take off the trades that end up working prematurely, and then you do the same on the trades, or if you do the same on the trades that win or lose, sorry, your overall risk to reward is going to be really, really bad at the end of it, because those trades that did work, you weren't capturing, and then you probably get FOMO to add back in at unfavorable prices and then get stopped out on randomness, whereas you should have been short here and you were short here, you put your stop to break even, whereas your stop should have been here. So just be very careful with that, especially if you're a beginner trader. Even if you're an advanced trader, like, do not get stopped out on randomness, right? Any questions this morning? Other than that, we'll probably go over to Whoop. We've got 15 minutes to the open. Again, I am short on the NQ, ranges from 820s all the way down to, I mean, my lowest is 658s is my lowest, which is just, sorry, 650s is my lowest, and I've got 1 micro left on that. But I have taken profit on those accounts. But I am expecting this to sell off. So I'm happy to, I'm happy to have the risk. But I appreciate the risk I currently have on is probably not going to be for everyone. So again, on the stream, I will try and just wait for a pop. If we get the pop, brilliant. If not, I'm already short, and you guys know my bias. So I'm sure you can trade for yourselves if you see a direction, or if you see a trade worth taking, knowing that the bias, that for me anyway, is bearish. It's just whether we get a sell off on the open, or it's whether they just whipsaw this, take out the highs, take out the lows. If that's the case, that's the only problem we have. Is the indicator private? It is, but you can go on to TradingView. If you just go on TradingView. One thing I'm going to say about all of my indicators, and Sam can attest to this because he helped build them, most of like the basic ones like the ATR stuff, you can sort of figure it out yourself. It just, the reason we've done it, the reason we've created it is because it just saves so much time. That's like the only reason. So this is just a standard ATR. You can put this on your chart. I use 10 because there's 5 days in the trading period, not 14. So 2 weeks worth of price action. Go to a 5-minute candle, and this is just going to tell you 31.17, which is exactly what I have here. So 1.5 of that I know straight away is 47. Why 1.5? Well, I want to get stopped out, not on randomness, on above randomness, if that makes sense. If I just place my stops at what the expected range is, then I'm getting stopped out on randomness, in my opinion. Whereas if it's 1.5, there's been a reason for that stop. Again, that's just my rationale on it. It doesn't mean it's the right way for you. It's just, that's how I view it. It makes sense to me. It works with all of my stats in terms of my trades, which I've actually uploaded and worked out my maximum exertion. And that's why it also lines up with 38 to 52. I actually have data, like it's in the resource channel. So yeah, it's not a coincidence that my stops this whole year, pretty much from January to like June, whenever I did those stats, worked out to be 38 to 52, which is again what the average ATR on the 1.5 is. So nice to have a double confirmation on your actual trade data, but then your actual, you know, stop placement as well. So you could argue it will be like that for a reason, but what that measures is how much the trade goes down before actually going to your target. So it's actually good data to actually be aware of. So yeah, so this is just the one that we have in the Masterclass 2.0. All of the indicators that we have are available in Masterclass 2.0, but it's a monthly subscription for like $69. But it is really useful information. But again, if you want to just manually work it out, you can probably even plug this into ChatGTP and get ChatGTP to create one for you. You just have to know what to say, but I'm sure you're all capable. If not, you want it easy, just me and Sam spend probably Sam more than me, but I think I've done a lot more in like the past to build up to what I've got. But we spent, I don't know, Sam, how many hours? Like hundreds of hours. So yeah, for a $69 monthly subscription, I wish I could have paid. I would have happily paid that to not have to spend all the hours that we've spent, but it's all good. Anyway, that is me done. I will jump on to Whoop, and hopefully we get these accounts, the ones that are in the red, in the green, and the ones that are in the green. Let's try get them more in the green. There's some that I'm close to passing. I came very close. I thought I passed the lucid accounts, but I needed 1250, not 1200. And the funded ticks, maybe they're getting close. Yes. But yeah, hopefully we get a bit of a drop at the open. If not, we get a pop and we look for a bit of a fade. Just have to be, again, mindful of the monthly ATR here. That's all I'm really cautious about.